I hope you guys are all keeping positive and staying active and healthy. Here in Langebaan, the wind is blowing today and it's so tempting because I can see it from my room. The water, it looks so beautiful and flat and absolutely perfect windsurf conditions. So I am experiencing serious withdrawal symptoms. I do need to put in like music in my ears because I hear the wind the whole time and it's so tempting and frustrating. So I think those of you guys who enjoyed running and cycling and all that, probably also the beautiful days, the sunshine days that we're getting now in Langebaan must be super tempting. So I'm feeling you. But it really helps to stick to something different in a nice routine. There's been some questions as well, so I'll definitely use this time to answer some of them. Just a quick reminder, when you do the exercises, do them like really slowly and controlled. The reason why I fast forward the reps is just to make the movie a little bit shorter. The slower you do them, the more difficult they are. So then obviously the less reps you'll need. It's really important to do a nice stretch afterwards. I think during this time when you spend a long time on the couch or sitting in bed or reading or lying down, it's really important that your muscles keep their length. So after each and every session of exercise that you do, when all your muscles are still warm, I've been asked a little bit about the nutrition side of things. On my previous post, I mentioned that it's really good to consume food items that have got minimal impact on your blood sugar levels. Avocados and eggs and nuts and seeds, vegetables and salads, protein, and obviously foods that contain healthy fats, because these foods really help to keep you fuller for longer. And it's really healthy for your skin and your hair and your nails. I do not eat first thing in the morning. I'd rather eat like a late breakfast or a brunch or maybe only a lunch. Try and include proteins in each and every meal. Do not overdo it, like do not pile the protein powders and shakes and things. During this time when you don't move as often, your body doesn't require so much protein anymore. So keep it moderate, don't overdo it and overload your kidneys with an excess of amino acids to digest. On that note, I actually do not personally take any of these shakes or protein boosters or supplements. I really try to stick with only like natural foods and real ingredients. I'm definitely not talking about the guys who are trying to really build a lot of muscle. Obviously in the gym, this whole thing would definitely in any case not be applicable to that type of person because the exercises won't really build a lot of bulk. It's really just to tone and strengthen and tighten up the muscles and help with posture, shape, and flexibility and balance. Make sure every meal has got some healthy fats in it, some healthy proteins and vegetables that contain a high amount of fiber and minerals and vitamins. On that note, during the lockdown, it's really difficult to keep a good stock of fresh veg and salads. Try and get hold of frozen vegetables. I normally, if I use frozen vegetables, I would just put them on a pan in the oven and bake them with the fan on. Alternatively, you can also make your own frozen veg. So buy a lot of fresh produce and then saute them in a little bit of olive oil in the pan and put them in a Ziploc bag, and you can freeze them like that and use as you go. I would actually prefer that because then you've got more control over how much you cook your vegetables. Then I also take every day a multivitamin. I think it's really helpful just to make sure that you get in all the little minerals and vitamins and micronutrients that you wouldn't necessarily think of. And if you can, take a vitamin C supplement. It helps to boost your immune system, especially during the time of the virus now. So some people ask me about the type of exercises that I do for preparing for windsurf events and competitions and the windsurf season versus the times where it's off season. There's a big difference between the two. In order to stay windsurfing fit and to be ready for events, you do really need to do a great combination of cardiovascular exercises, strength training exercises, plyometric exercises, explosive exercises, and that in combination with a lot of running, a lot of cycling, a lot of windsurfing. I do try to do so many different things because windsurfing is a full body workout, and you cannot lack in one aspect, because then it will really have a big impact on your endurance and your strength on the water and your ability to hold down a big sail in strong winds. So during the season time, and like last year before Lüderitz, when I prepared for the big event, I did about 4 months of extremely hard training, 3 hours every day. I also worked together with my biokineticist, Ainu Craft, in order to get my shoulder back in action. So he was helping me a lot with my shoulder rehab. So I really had to put in 4 times the amount of effort to get back to a level where I could compete at that high level last year. But in this time, it's really hard on your body and your mind. It's a lot of work, so you cannot sustain that type of training throughout the whole year. It's really important to switch things up. So that is why during the winter time and off season, I really stick to the type of exercises that I'm showing you guys. I try to maintain that throughout the whole year, on season and off season. Having a strong core is super helpful for windsurfing. I sail personally with a waist harness, so all the power, it comes from the core. A lot of people look at us and they think windsurfing is all in your arms, you know, you're holding the sail, but it's not. People who do not know windsurfing, it's not that. It's a lot of power that comes from your legs as well and your core. But I believe it's really healthy to switch things up throughout the year, especially as an athlete as well. On that note, the effects of cortisol in your body is really something to consider when you are trying to be healthy. If you maintain a very high intensity workouts throughout the year without switching it up, you'll end up with chronically high levels of cortisol in your body. Cortisol is the hormone in your body that creates that fight or flight response. So it really boosts your blood sugar levels. This higher level of blood sugar in your system creates energy for you so that you can do these kind of explosive things that you would have done if something gave you a fright to run away. But when you really put your body under a long-term stress, these levels of cortisol stays very high and you develop a chronic high level of blood sugar. I think also people who not necessarily raise the cortisol level through exercise, but through stress at work or your situation or mental stress, emotional stress, physical stress, this is probably a good time to try and knock it down a bit. I wouldn't go into any of the extremes form of dieting. Some people believe firmly in the ketogenic diet, and there's some people who follow low carb diets. I think for the general population, it's very difficult to maintain these kind of ways of eating. So I really prefer something that's super sustainable with regards to exercise and nutrition. So I would rather follow a moderately low carb diet if I was trying to stay in shape and stay healthy. That means I still include some of my favorite foods that are not necessarily very low carb in small amounts, which makes it super flexible. I know that a lot of people have got these watches. They track your steps and your running distance and your cardiovascular fitness, your VO2 max. And I think at this time, take your watch and just take it off and put it away for now. These things will get in your mind if you were really in tune with it all the time and trying to improve it all the time. That number game that you are dealing with is not really a healthy habit. I think health and fitness and obviously your physical appearance doesn't necessarily rely on these kind of numbers. For instance, when we windsurf, I do not get step counts for that. So my steps are sometimes even way under. So sometimes you need to know when to listen to numbers and not. So don't get anxious about your watch in this time when you can't really run and keep up your cardiovascular fitness. So let me know if you guys have got any more questions. Stay healthy and stay positive, and I'll see you in the next one.